And it looks like that we are live. Yay. Okay, let me mute this other YouTube channel so it doesn't drive me crazy. We are here. All right. Angela Anderson and I are here. Thank you for being here, Angela. It's so
Oh,
nice to
thank you
see
for
you
having
again.
me. I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Oh, thank you. So am I. I'm so excited to chat with you some more.
Right.
Yeah, I know, and bring through that Christ consciousness.
Yes,
That I mean,
absolutely.
how could that not feel good? All right, so thank you everyone who's here watching now. We are ready to get going. So Angela, would you mind sharing a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are channeling the
Cool.
oneness?
So I'll give you the short version because I think in the last interview I gave the extended version. So I'll just
Yes,
do a
yes.
brief recap. So always been intuitive, always been kind of tapped in. Although when I was younger, I shut it off because I would see things, tell my parents, and they would ignore me or not validate or whatnot. So turned it off and always had little smidgens of it throughout my life growing up. And then about 2020, when the pandemic started, like as January came in, it was like that year leading up, I was getting that nudge, like it's time to step into who you are. It's time to step into who you are, right? Because I was kind of getting that push that it was time to stop diminishing myself,
Mhm.
stop playing small, and kind of step into who I am completely and in full authenticity, right? And so as I made that shift, I connected with a group and started just meeting with that group every week, every week, and just started to get some little subtle suggestions about things to do to further embrace the intuitive side of self. And as I kind of just surrendered to that process, it just kind of bam, exploded. And it started to happen so fast, so fast. So, how I started the channeling part of things was I just one day decided to try automatic writing. And I saw somebody had mentioned a suggestion about just sitting with a pen and paper and asking spirit to speak and just relaxing and seeing what happens. And I did. And the night that I did, I felt this tingling sensation in my arm. And eventually my arm started to move. But what happened is instead of writing words, I started writing scribbles, right? And the first thought that came to mind was that this was a calibration, right? Because you can't expect um, like in computer software, because I'm a software engineer by trade. That's what I've been. And I knew it was a process of calibrating. You have to calibrate electronics to get them to work properly the way you want them to do. So kind of equated what was happening to that. And eventually those scribbles turned into small words, which turned into short sentence fragments, which turned into sentences, which turned into paragraphs and pages of stuff. So yeah, I continue with the automatic writing because I love the written word. I love to read, and I eventually see myself writing a book. But that's just something that I've kept as part of me connecting with spirit. That's kind of what I do. I meditate in the morning and journal through automatic writing in the morning as soon as I meditate. And yeah, it blossomed from there into body movements. So I turned myself into the pendulum. So I would ask questions in order to get confirmation on what I was receiving. I said, use me as the pendulum. And sure enough, that started to happen. And I would get these movements in my body. And that happened. And that itself progressed into what is now part of the way that I channel. It's part of the movement of the energy that flows through. So that progressed. And eventually I moved into voice channeling. I just started to speak it. One day I got challenged in this group that I was in. I got thrown in the hot seat, and everybody asked questions, and I'm like, oh my God, I've never done this before, right? Like I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna go with the process, because that's what I had done the whole time. Just go with the flow, go with the flow. And so I went with the flow, and I let them ask me questions, and sure enough, I started to speak and answer the questions, and I just kind of knew stuff, and it was crazy. But that's kind of progressed into what is now, and like end of last year, the light language started to come, and this year, that's progressed into something else. Something else. Like I'm going into something totally different, and like it's so amazing. If I wasn't living it, I wouldn't believe it myself, like really. But it's moving so fast. So the light language has turned into me singing the light language. That just happened like 2 days ago, right?
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
and then I have been writing light code. So that kind of happened back a little bit further in the process. But yeah, it's crazy in a good way.
That's amazing. I love that. You know, I'm sure I shared this with you last time, but for the audience, that's how I started channeling too, was automatic writing.
Yeah.
Just start writing, and just it's like I love that calibrating. That makes so much sense, because I also feel like it's just clearing your channel too as you
Right.
start
That's
writing.
exactly right.
Hmm.
Yeah. I realized that. And then working with the way that I eat, like the way that I eat changed the way that I
Hmm.
exercise. Because I was so, prior to that, I was so into physical fitness. Like I was a personal trainer like all through college, right? So I was really into physically working out. But when I started to really embrace this intuitive side, my body said, and I started listening more to my body and what it wanted. I changed the way I ate, changed the frequency of how I ate.
Hmm.
And rather than working out so strenuously with all the heavy weights and equipment, I just started going out and connecting with nature. And I literally would walk so slow around the park. Like I'm just walking, like strolling through the park. It would take me like 3 hours to probably do 3 laps around a quarter mile track at the park, because I'm walking just so slow to connect with nature. But what happened was I lost more weight in like 6 months than I had in the last 10 years of working out so hard, because I was functioning from a state of bliss
Hmm.
and just being content and happy, and not trying to make something happen to meet some standard that I had established for myself. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that I love that. So you were in a high frequency where you were
Yeah.
burning off energy, I would
Yeah.
imagine, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And people were lapping you, right? Because you
Yeah, yeah. And my daughter would get so mad. My daughter and my son would get so bad because we go to the park. Mama, why are you walking so slow? Like, I'm not in a race. I'm out here to enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the landscape and the scenery. I'm just literally taking it all in. And that taking it all in was me communing with Gaia and feeling the wind and
Nice.
listening to the wind and listening to everything, everything.
That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. That it reminds me of like the gurus and um, the yogis. When you see them taking a walk, they have their hands behind their back and they're just strolling along, enjoying
Yes.
every moment of their walk. They're so in the present moment, like, and that's what you're describing, right?
Yes, yes, that's exactly what that was. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
That's awesome.
that started with me just trying to get out of the house because I was working from home. And I've never wanted to work from home, but with the pandemic, you didn't have a choice. But I started it as a way of just getting out of the house. I just needed to get out of the house, and I walked so slow initially because I didn't want to have to go right back home. So I would just walk really slow. But yeah, that's kind of how that started. But it progressed into me, or evolved into me connecting with Gaia, and now it's something I miss because it's just too bitterly cold to get outside right now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not in that. Luckily, here in Oregon, we have some nice weather this week, so I was able to take my dog for a walk. But it wasn't. She's a little dog, and she walks really fast, so I have to keep
Yeah.
up with her. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a it wasn't a stroll, I'll tell you that. But and she's 14, but she still outwalks me.
Wow.
Right? That's awesome. I love that. That's really good good information for people that might be on, because we're in such a hurry in our life, and
Oh yeah.
we're so programmed to to
Do,
you
do,
know
do. Do, do,
yes,
do. Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Like I've always been that person. Like my dad was always a busybody. Like he was always making something or building something. He had to be doing something in the house or outside, fixing something, something. He had to be in movement, in motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I found myself as I got older. I was like that. And I think that's how I started building motorcycles, right? It was because I always had to be doing something, creating something, right? But as I've grown in this whole process, like within this last year, as that's really started to come on, I've settled. And sometimes, like when I first began to settle, my husband was like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay? Like you're not doing anything. Why aren't you moving?" I'm like, I'm content just to be, like being. I'm sitting here chilling, just relaxing, being. I've learned to be. I've learned to appreciate just sitting and being, and that's a great place to be from where I was before. Yeah, with that
Right.
do mentality. Yeah.
Totally. Would you attribute uh, your channeling abilities to maybe being finding that state?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's all one thing. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
there's a separation in it at all. It's all
Mm-hmm.
inclusive of just
Right.
settling down, learning to listen, being still, allowing yourself to feel and being moved by the impulse rather
Mm-hmm.
than the mind. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always felt, and let me know what you think about this. I always felt that as I'm channeling higher beings or higher entities, higher energies, that they become a part of me, if that makes sense. And so they're always, like you said, they're always present in your energy field especially as you channel them on a
Yeah,
regular basis.
I think they're aspects of you. That's my personal belief that they're aspects of you. There is no separation. So if you're
Right.
connected with it, it's an aspect of you somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes total sense. Because lately I've been channeling the whale and dolphin realm, and I mean I've channeled them before, but
yeah.
being a mermaid, that makes sense why I would be channeling. They would be coming
Right.
through when I ask, when I start channeling, and I do the same thing you do in the morning. I I have my meditation and I record my dreams, and then I channel guidance
Yeah,
from whoever comes through, whoever wants to help
yeah,
me with my dreams. Yeah, so
yeah.
that's perfect. And those that are here, if you have any questions for Angela, as she's going to channel for us here in a minute, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I do have a handful of questions here that people have asked as well. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we will field those. I know that when I channel higher beings, I feel really good afterwards. Do you?
I do. I feel really mellow.
Mhm.
But it depends. It just depends on the energy that comes through because all the energies they're different. They're different, right? There's a frequency difference between energies, right? And
Yeah.
so they come in a different way, and there's a different feeling to all. Some are really like like me, calm, right? And I get that calm feeling, that relaxed, chill feeling. And
Mhm.
then some are like really, really quick, like this, and I get this really amped up feeling like I'm ready to go run. I need to go run a lap and then come back or do some jumping jacks or some push-ups or something, and then I'm good to go. But yeah, it just varies with the energy that comes through.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Okay. So anything you want to share before you get into the groove of of the collective beings?
Let's see. Let's see. I'll just say I got some things coming down the pike. I've put together some light language transmissions or activations, and I'll be adding to those. So I've
Okay.
put out the first series of light language activations, and then I'm also putting together a weekly group
Oh,
to meet and just dialogue, be able to have these types of conversations, because I found that in dialoguing just about everyday life, that's expansive, it's activating. Just to speak about it, like reading something in a book that's written in a manual type way, do this, do this, do this, you get it, but it's not until you can hear it real world style and see how you can apply it that it really kind of comes full circle, full circle. So
sure.
yeah, I've just set up some groups on different nights. There are 3 different nights I'm going to offer, and everybody's free to join those groups, so we can
Nice.
just kind of have some little chats and stuff. So.
Okay. So where would people go to find those
Oh,
groups?
to my website.
To your website? Okay.
Yeah, it's www.energyofoneness.com.
Nice. Okay. And I'll have that down in the details. Okay. That's awesome. Very cool. So is this a group where people can channel themselves, or is it?
We can do whatever. I'm leaving
Oh,
it open. I'm leaving it open. There are no restrictions. We're just gonna have an informal dialogue. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely. Okay. Okay.
So I will get in the zone.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. And let me know when they're ready to take questions,
Okay.
and then we can field them. Okay.
All right. We're ready to receive your questions now.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So one question is, what advice would you have on how to work through what is going on in the world today? As you, I'm sure, know that we're in intense times. And what advice might you have for people to be able to get through these times with ease and grace, perhaps?
We would say grant yourselves the opportunity to see the world as you see the self, to realize that you are projecting that which you see from a collective standpoint. So allow yourself to witness, to see, to allow this to bring you to a state of focus, so that you may decide that which is beneficial for the self, expansive for the self, that which serves the self, for this is intended to bring you to a state of focus, such that you may choose that which yields for you, that which serves you, understanding that you are the creator of your experience. You create all that you witness and that which you see through the beliefs that you have chosen to hold. Allow that which you witness to bring you to a point of focus so that you may delve inward to understand why it is that you see what you see, for there is resonance. Resonance that is rising to the top to be seen, to be understood, to be transmuted by you under the umbrella of love. This is the opportunity that is being yielded to you in this moment through all that you witness. For that which appears to you as chaos is merely the transition. It's merely the falling away of that which no longer serves you. So right now you are being presented with choice. Choice. Will you choose from the perspective of love, understanding that which you are? For you are fractals of the source of all creation. You are divine in form. You are the divine in a unique personality expression within this plane. So as you come to introspect, focus within the self, you allow yourself to know that which you truly are. And when you understand who you truly are, you allow yourself to choose that which is in the interest of the highest good and evolution of the self. But the choice must be made. For such is this dimension of existence, this 3D realm. You have the choice to function from an illusion of separation, or the understanding, the broader perspective of that which you truly are.
Thank you. Thank you. So another question is, how important is it to meditate?
We would say that meditation is the most important thing that you can do for yourselves, for it is through the act of meditation that you bring yourself to a point of focus inward. When you allow yourself to come into the space of the heart, you connect with that broader aspect of self. You are able to feel that larger aspect of self, that true aspect of self. But when you allow yourself to focus outside of this awareness, when you are not familiar with this aspect of self, then you are bamboozled, led astray by the perception of separateness. So you begin to see yourselves as limited. This physicalness is all that there is. And within seeing yourself as separate with this limited vessel, then you lose access to your power. But it is through the act of meditation that you are able to come inside and feel that true beingness of self, that true aspect of self that you are. You get familiar with how that feels. Now, all will not meditate in the same fashion. There are those who may not have it within them to sit for a time. But meditation can be many things to many people. For the one who sits before you has found a way to meditate through a stroll. And then there are times when she will sit for a duration of time. But all are avenues, are ways to meditate. to bring oneself into the awareness of that broader aspect, that interconnectedness to the whole. This is the importance of meditation. And we will say that it is paramount. It should be a priority in whatever fashion you choose to implement it, for it brings you into the true awareness of self.
Thank you. Thank you. And on that line of meditation, people ask, what is the best way, perhaps, or to clear the mind with meditation, or to find a meditative space? Nowadays, it seems people have a lot of trouble with clearing our minds. What is some advice for how people can do that?
We will say that you are human beings, and with the state of human beings, the mind is always in operation, and it is not always possible to bring the mind to a state of ceasing thought. The idea is not to cease thought, but to slow the momentum of thought, to bring one's focus inward. So a way to do this in practical terms is simply breathe. Now, you breathe all day. You breathe in every moment of your being, but this is a focused breath of focused intention, bringing yourself to the space of the heart. It is with this slow, intentional breath that you bring the focus inward. You pull all that is you from the arms, from the feet, from the head down to the space of the heart. As you inhale, as you exhale, you push out through these same exit points or extremities. This focused breath can be done in this way. Allow yourself to settle. And as you inhale, say to yourself, I am love. You're breathing in as slow as you possibly can, pulling the breath all the way from the fingers and toes and the top of the head down to the space of the heart. And as you pause in that moment of stillness, recognize the true self. And in that moment of recognition, exhale and say to yourself, I love, as slowly as you can. And in this way, you have acknowledged that which you are and the way in which you serve. I am love is the acknowledgement of self and that connectedness to the divine that you are. I love is the way the divine expresses within this plane of being. This is a way to bring the focus inward. And this is a beneficial tactic because it not only needs to be done in meditation or can be done in meditation, it can be done at any moment of the day. Establishing for the self a meditative way of being. For humans get caught up in the definitions and details that they perceive the things should be. So they perceive meditation to be an exercise of sitting for a duration or a period of time. But meditation or awareness of the true self should be established as a way of being. For when you feel yourself triggered or stressed or moved beyond your perception of that bigger aspect of self. You perceive yourself as that limited self. You get caught up in the emotion of a thing. The way to bring oneself out is through this slow, intentional, pranic breath. I am love. Acknowledge the self. I love.
Thank you. So another question is, there's a lot of talk about moving into 5D frequency or 5D way of living. Can you share some insights on what that might look like, or what that would be for the planet and for humanity?
5D in simplest terms is that which you would perceive as simply love. The act of being love, the act of operating from a place of unity, the ability to see the self as part of the whole. This is the essence of 5D. No longer is there a duality of things, a black and a white, good or bad. There simply isness. There is an acknowledgement and a realization that all are one in simplest terms. This is what the collective is moving toward. But the shackles are being released, and that which you witness at this moment is the chaos, the transitional state of that which is, as you move forward in this choice toward oneness, wholeness, understanding that you are not isolated within this plane of being, but you are a part of the collective beingness that is the creation itself. There is no separation. And this is what this 5D, as you term it, is moving the human collective toward. Love is the word that stands.
Thank you. Thank you. Is this what we have been calling the new earth?
We will say that humans have their many labels, yes. And this is a label that has been chosen within the collective. But it is simply an acknowledgement and awareness of the oneness of all things. Yes.
Thank you. Is there any timeline on that?
All is perfect as it is.
Mm-hmm. Somehow I knew you were going to say that.
All is perfect as it is. All is happening as it should. There is no rush. There is no competition to arrive at a final destination. Allow that which is to be. Allow the unfoldment. Allow yourself to experience the unfoldment, to learn, to benefit from the experience of the unfoldment. All is perfectly suited to bring you into greater awareness of the self. So there is no wrong or right. There is no good nor bad. There's simply the isness of that which is.
Thank you. So one question I have here is, does every person on the planet have some form of spirit guide that works with them? Individual spirit guide.
For there are many. For you are not just this individual vessel that you see when you look in the mirror. You are the boots on the ground, so to speak, and you are part of a team. All are part of a team. You are never alone, ever alone. There is always a guide present. It is merely your awareness of such that becomes the issue. Allow yourself to know this. And in moments when you may feel alone, to ask, to reach out, to ask that their awareness be made apparent to you in a way that you are able to perceive and receive. You are never alone. The team is very real.
Thank you. Thank you. Could you speak to guardian angels as well in that with that same question?
There is always a guardian present with you. Just as you have a soul, that guardian is present with the soul itself. Here to help, here to guide, here to support. Part of the team.
Thank you. And with that, I'd like to talk about, I have some questions here about what we call extraterrestrials. Is there going to be what we might call disclosure of extraterrestrials in, let's say, the next 10 years, perhaps, if you could give us a timeline on that, meaning where humanity may know that there are other beings other than Earth humans in our galaxy that that are interacting with us.
We will not present a timeline, for this is not beneficial for the whole. We will simply say that you are not alone. There are many present. If you are willing to open the eyes, you will see them present before you in many shapes and forms, oftentimes similar to you in form. Many are present, operating at varying degrees of frequency and vibration such that they are not seen, but there are many present. Know this to be fact. The disclosure, as you would, is happening today. Allow yourself to open the eyes, open your perspective, expand your perspective, and allow it to be witnessed, for it will not come immediately from the top down, if you understand our words. It will come as a for lack of a better term, it will almost spread like a virus from the inside out. And then you will witness it. Then it will be acknowledged, but it is present in this moment. It will come from within rather than without.
Mm-hmm.
And then there will be an acknowledgement, if you understand our terms.
Yes. Yes, thank you. There's information about negative extraterrestrials that have been on the planet for a while. Could you speak to this, and do you know anything about what that, if they, because I've heard that they have been removed from the planet in our galaxy. Is there any way you could speak to that? If negative may be meaning that they didn't have humanity's best interest at heart?
We will say neutralized is a better term.
Mm-hmm.
For the contrast is still present. This contrast still exists. For the contrast is necessary in order for one to distinguish one from the other, the light from the dark, if this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a neutralization in process, which is taking place. It is the human way to attempt to distinguish one as malevolent or benevolent. And all are necessary in order for one to see perspectives, in order to create within this plane, for this is how you create. The contrast provokes a desire within the self. So what you term as negative or positive are both necessary to a degree.
So basically, it's a matter of balance, perhaps, that our planet has been out of balance with this, and it's been brought back into balance. Is that correct? Or being brought into balance? Would that be correct?
It's being brought into a balanced state of awareness, yes.
Thank you. So the beings that we're talking to, have they ever, or any of them, been in human form on the planet?
Those whom you would term ascended master, for there is Yeshua, Mary, the Buddha would be one that you would know in human form.
Mm-hmm.
There are many who are, as you would call, angelic or celestial, And then there are many galactics who may exist in form elsewhere, who may be energetic consciousness in natures. Yes. There are many forms, but all is energy, all is consciousness. All that is of the Christ consciousness speaks.
Thank you. Thank you. What is the best way to stay healthy in all of our bodies, physically, spiritually, and emotionally? What advice would you give to become healthy and stay healthy as we move through these energy transitions or these shifts on the planet?
Understand the power of that which you are, for you are not the physical body. The body is but the vessel. As understanding who you are and what you are, you have the power as the creator of your experience to tell or to communicate the intention that you wish to hold. So if you wish to hold a state of health and well-being, make that known to the vessel in which you reside. For it is a consciousness in and of itself, and it responds to words, specifically your words and the words that you have chosen to believe. So it is a state of health that you wish to establish for the self. Make this known to the vessel which you animate, permeate, and enfold. Make that known. In doing so, will you work in cooperation with the vessel in order to understand the needs of the specific vessel? For the needs of each are different. There is no cookie cutter program which is suited for all, which is the standard for all. And this is where many go astray in attempting to manage their state of health and well-being. Health and well-being is as unique as the vessel in which each resides. Establish the intention for health and well-being, and then work in collaborative cooperation with the vessel to learn and understand that which is most needed for the vessel. For the body will let you know what it needs and what it does not need. The issue comes in the fact that most will ignore the signs and the signals that are received. For example, if you eat a meal and it does not sit well on the stomach, it causes an issue of heartburn, for example, then this may be a food that is not beneficial to the vessel. Do away with this and work with the vessel to learn of an alternative. Everyone is not intended to be vegetarian. Everyone is not intended to be a carnivore. Each diet is uniquely suited to each unique vessel. Establish the intention as the creative being that you are. Work with the vessel to understand its unique needs, and you will be on your way. This is part of eating, learning to eat, learning to govern the self in an intuitive fashion. And this is where meditation, being able to connect with that higher aspect of self, comes into play. You must know the self in order to govern the self.
Thank you. Thank you. I find that as I move up in frequency that I'm finding that I am less attracted to eating and the less I eat, the better I feel. Would you say that that might be true for a lot of people or a lot of us as we're shifting?
This plays a role to a degree. For this is how this vessel experienced this same flow, this same dynamic. However, as she has taken on different frequencies, elevated frequencies, this dynamic has changed. This dynamic has shifted. So there are moments when there is a purely vegetarian diet which suits this vessel. But then as different energies are integrated and acclimated, there may be a period in which the vegetarian diet will not do. For this particular vessel, she does not consume meats. However, she is still subject to adjustments as the energy frequencies are integrated by the vessel.
Thank you. Thank you. Is it possible in this day and age for someone in the physical vehicle that they're in now to be able to ascend within that physical body rather than what we would call dying from the physical body?
We will say this is how the ascension process will take place, for there is choice. You may choose to leave the physical vessel behind and take up a new physical vessel, or you may choose to integrate and adapt the existing physical vessel and walk into your ascension. It is the choice of the vessel, choice of the soul itself.
I see. Thank you. Thank you. That's all the questions I have. If you have anything you'd like to share, we would love to hear some light language as well. And if anyone in the group has any language or questions.
And we will speak in the language of light.
Thank you.
Sidamekitro kai ishandura baki I sento mai esanduro keta pai sarakai to kai esan ushe the mitraku esade ketro kai vai sanura kai inde tora kai. Da som midre dushi dare kai tora kai terkoita. Disa midrushe trekite kai terkoita. Paraita isura kaita tora kai terkoita. Es marco dushe tisaraka ise durakaita. Parakite dusha meti sarkoita besan nuraka ise dora. Da san nurake da tishoraka pisa ma ite duraka isan nuraka nairke dura. Dismitrushe tisaraka. Dismitrushe isan nuraka. Bason nure pisarakai. Da sonna che tu scetai, pisora paita, e sunne fina rui, dai scetura kai, na inura che tu sceda kai ite tura kai, pisanura che isanura kai isanura, da sinte tura kai isanura, pare chi se tu sharbe. No I in no shetisa desaraketo da sora ma inte durakai paraki sho isanurakai dai isa parai tu sharita dai se durakai isan durakai pasanurake tu sha desine dura pai se tu shamita ke so Pisa nurra che taisce, dai satura paine tura che tusha. Isanure dai shoduse pre inge tura pakaite tura. Da sura maketa. Tisun che ti sorabi ti se duraka ise. Tu son nura isan nura ke dachi sturaka. Tisunuraka pai se duraka. Da sorai pepisa guta. Desinchidura pepisa gorka. Da soraka. Tisishoraka isanure pesara goeta. Tisoraka tisha. Da cintura pesa durka. Da nure pesa dura pesa keto tushama isanduraka isandurka. Tisora mine esandura. Da sinora que tisai dura que da shitu. Tismare isanu da shante de cura. Fasanture. Disnuraca iseturaca isante. Paripisotti saraca isanuraca te shora. Pa isanuraca te sharagor. Da sonatari. Tesuraca te shi disnura pai isuraca te dur. Da sura pai esanturaca te shuta. Pa isan ni seture pesetruke da iserugare to dusheta. Da sura mai inde dura kai. Disnura pe isan nura kitisha isura kai. Da sonude. Da soruke disa disora isan nura kitura. Disnure beta da sisetura. Tisamadushe ai isonorakai. Pisanutu samadise dai. Dasurakitishe prai isorakai. Tisindura pisa by isotoraita. Tusa inise tisinde durakai by inde durakaita. Tisogoita. Tasante tu shora. Tisishera midra kuita, da sidre kupai, da tisher gurakai. Isanura kai setunura keta, da sandura ketishe durakai, da sushara midri kureka tisher kurai kita tishor kita koi, da inureka pai ishorakai, da tisametru de shareka. Rike durakai ishorakai. Tai so tisarakai pareka durakai. Isendureka tisherako esanureketa. Tai isedura mai isarakoeta. Tai.
Thank you. Thank you. What a blessing. Thank you, Angela.
Yeah. I'm feeling really chill right now. Like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, I imagine. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing energy.
Cool.
Very cool. Lots of great information too. Do you
Cool.
remember?
I do. I'm fully conscious right now.
Yeah.
I've heard that I received that message that trance is something that may be coming, but I'm not there yet. So, but I'm still like fully present. So,
Yeah. Yeah, with me it's kind of like a dream where you remember it and then as time goes by you don't. I don't.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I channel, it's right afterwards I'm like, yeah, I kind of remember that, but then as time goes by I don't. It's so it's hard to get completely out of the way. I understand that.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. Were you like all the way in from the start, or was it a process?
It was it was a process.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
a process. So could you explain to us just real quick before we close? I don't want to keep you too long. When you do come through with the light language,
Yeah,
I mean, I just feel so much light, light and love,
yeah,
and it's got to
yeah,
do something to us, for us, that type of
yeah,
thing. So
yeah,
can you help us
yeah,
understand that?
absolutely.
Mhm.
So light language is a frequency. It's it's the source. It's the source of creation. So it's like it's coming down and I'm filtering it, basically, just filtering it out. I'm just like a conduit, I'll call it in simple terms. And when you receive it, you are receiving it. It's bypassing the logical mind, which is why it's so great, right? It's
Mhm.
bypassing the logical mind and it's speaking to those aspects of self from a cellular level up, molecular level up, that are seeking to be, seeking to remember, seeking to come online, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's giving you what you need, where you need it, in the best way possible that you are able to receive in the moment.
Nice.
That's the benefit of it. And
Mhm.
a lot of people feel it physically, like palpably. Like I feel it as a wind. Like when I'm receiving it, it's almost like a wind, and my arms are just floating, floating. Yeah, floating as I
Yeah.
receive it. So
Right.
yeah.
So also as you're speaking this light language, people that are listening to it are being affected by it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. It's speaking to everybody who's in receipt. And the great thing about it's like the way that I channel, it's multi-sensory. So you don't even necessarily have to hear it.
Yeah.
It can be silent. And there are some videos that I've made like of me silently moving. But if you
Mm.
go back and watch those, you can still feel the frequency coming through. I'm not saying a word, it's just a silent meditation almost, but my arms are in motion the whole time. And I do a lot of codes like with my hands.
Mhm.
And
I noticed that.
you can still feel it. You can still feel it coming through. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't consciously channel light language, but I've been in that in between state where I'm waking up and I hear myself speaking it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I do speak it, but I just haven't channeled it, but
Consciously done it. Yeah.
consciously channeled it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It comes through. It's coming through stronger and stronger. Like when I started to sing the other day,
Mm-hmm.
like right before I started to sing, it came in a totally different way. It was
Wow.
like something combined with something else, and it was like a whole different dialect, and it was really loud and really powerful and really strong. And I've noticed that it varies based on the energy that's at the forefront. So whatever energy is at the forefront, that light language dialect is kind of gonna follow suit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And who knows, maybe one day we're all going to be speaking like that because we're all going to be communicating telepathically, which we kind of do anyway now. It's just going to be more prevalent where we won't even need to really speak English because it's so clumsy anyway.
You know, I had that very thought, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, as I speak light language and I see the effect that it has on like people who've come to me for sessions, like I'm
Mhm.
just seeing the effects, right? Wouldn't it be so cool if we were able to remind, like have a school and you go to, I say school, but it's really not teaching you as much as reminding you of what you
Right.
already know, but
Mhm.
it's just serving to activate you, bring you into that remembrance of self, activating you through light language itself, bypassing
Yes.
all the clumsy human languages, bypassing all of that and just reaching you on a totally different level. And this is some stuff I think I'm bringing forward, because the more things that I do, I'm realizing that what I'm bringing forward is appealing to that right-brainedness,
Yes.
that unstructured creative side that's seeking to be expressed now. It's
Yeah.
not speaking to the logical mind. It's intentionally intended to bypass the logical mind. The latest light code activation, light language activation series that I put out, I didn't speak a word on any of those intentionally, because I don't want to set the stage. I don't want to create a thought for you to form a limitation around in how you receive what's being given.
Mm-hmm.
It's open-ended. So
Mm-hmm.
you listen to it and you are receiving whatever you need in the way that you need to receive it, without the prerequisite or this boundary being
Like front
established
loading.
around, established around what it's intended to be. It is as it is, what it is. And as you listen to it, you receive it in a way that is most beneficial for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so is that on your YouTube channel where you're
It's
doing
on my
that?
YouTube channel,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And also accessible for my Facebook page. It's called the Ringing of the Gong.
Ooh,
The Ringing of the Gong. And I thought
nice.
that was such a cool name, right? Because it's a gong sounds, you hit that gong and you feel it right away. It tingles through the whole vessel. And that's what this is intended to do. Enliven the vessel, reminding it of who it is or what it is, bypassing the logic. So you can't stop it and try to analyze it and figure out what it is. It's hitting you when you need it the most. Yeah.
Yeah. And it reminded me as you're talking that what you're doing is what we've been craving, humanity's been craving for a very long time, because we've been so logical, we've been so in the left brain for so long, right? And so we and that's as we got off track, and it's part of our evolution, but as we got off track, we've been craving this type of thing for, I feel, a long time.
Yeah, I think it's necessary. It's necessary for sure. The logical mind functions off history and what it knows, what's familiar, right? And I'm bringing something that's totally, you can't analyze it. It doesn't compare to anything. You can't compare it to anything. You don't know even what it is, right? When you listen to it, especially if you're new to light language, it's going to hit you in a way that you don't even understand, leaving you all discombobulated here while it goes to work elsewhere within your field, within your physical vessel. It's hitting everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I notice in the symbols you are spelling out with your hands, and the way you move your arms and hands is also an activation, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's all connected, all the same stuff in a different way. That's why I would say a multi-sensory. So you're getting hit different ways. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. How often do you and I said I'd let you go.
Go ahead. I don't have anywhere to be but upstairs, right?
Oh, okay. Upstairs. It reminds me of Paul Selig.
The upper room.
The upper room. Yes, the upper room. I'm listening to that one right now. I think it's The Kingdom, the book, the latest one, The Upper Room. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, do you channel? Well, you said it's part of your morning routine where you channel every day, right?
That's like automatic writing, but yes, what they are getting me in the habit of doing is, as I'm sitting doing my meditations, I'll spontaneously just go into it. Like I'll ask a question. If I ask them a question, ask my guides a question, the response will come in light language. It doesn't come in English. And I asked this question the other day because I was having this whole dialogue about singing, right? Because I don't sing in front of a camera, but this is something that's coming, right? But I was having this whole dialogue because I was kind of hung up on this issue of singing. And every response was spoken in light language. And I said to them, can I get a response in English? But the issue with that is that I would wrap a subjective thought or, just feeling around whatever I receive. And with them giving it to me in the form of light language, it's giving me what I need in the way that I need it most, bypassing that logic, even for myself, right? But there are times as I'm channeling the light language that I can decipher it. It's like I'm translating on the fly. So I can translate it in chunks, but it doesn't happen every time. It doesn't happen every time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice because as you were channeling, I felt like I was getting messages in my language,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
translating it
Yeah.
that way. And I would imagine that everyone has their own translation that, or that
Right.
it's so multi-dimensional, multi-level that each person that actually closely is or sits with it would get their own messages, right?
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
That's that's amazing. I love that. When you were talking about singing, it reminded me of when I about 20 years ago when I woke up to the fact that I'm a mermaid, and during my meditations, as I was get really deep and go to the mer world and be with my mer family and everything, I just started singing this really deep
Guttural type
yeah,
singing. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I know. And it was actually kind of haunting. It was, it was like, well, where is that coming from? But it was just so natural when you're in that state.
Yeah. That's
It was
exactly right.
kind of freaky at first. Like, where is that coming from?
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so cool. Well, I didn't want to put you on the spot and ask you to do that this time because I know you just said it was a couple days, but one day.
Right. Yeah. One day, this is funny. So, yeah, that happened like a couple of days ago. And then yesterday, I got the nudge to set up the camera and record myself because they said, set up the camera, record, and you're going to put out a video of you singing. I didn't end up publishing the video. I ended up sending it to just a few people because what I saw in the video was like an aura around me. Like it formed as I started to dialogue with them, and then I went into singing, and this aura formed, and it got more and more intense as I sung. And as soon as I finished and did this and put my head down, it dissipated just like that. And I guess it was to show me, right? It was to show me that effects. And today, like which is day 3, I ended up, I had worked with a client, got something that came through for them. And then I get this message to record a song. Like I was given a song was placed in my field for this person, which would serve as an activation for them. Right. So I recorded myself singing, right?
Nice.
And this time when I did it today, it was no issue. Like I didn't have an issue. I didn't have a hang up with sharing the song. I didn't even have a hang up with singing the song. It's almost like I got a confidence boost or I let go of some fear or something that came attached with that thing that was placed in my field. And I sung it and delivered that message. But it's been cool, pretty cool in that way. Like that progression has been like off the charts. Yeah, if I wouldn't live in it, I wouldn't believe it.
Right.
Seriously.
Right. Yeah. I get it. I know a woman who she actually sings soul language, and she gives people tapes of a soul song for them. And
got it. Yeah. That makes so much sense. Yeah. Yeah, that was a concept that I hadn't even thought about, right? Yeah, but when they said send this is like specifically for her, because most things that I've done have just been for everybody, right? But this was something uniquely suited for her, like directly suited for her. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It is very cool. I mean, because music and the song, I mean, we are music, right? That's what we are. We're sound and frequency, and it's so healing for us. And I had never heard of that before I met my friend, and there's not a lot of people that I haven't heard of anyone since then that does that. So it's not. So it's obviously needed. I mean, music can make us feel bad or feel good. I mean, it can bring up so much emotion, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I love music.
I love music too.
I'm a music freak. If it wasn't for my partner, I wouldn't even have a TV. I just listen to music all day long.
That would be us, right? My kids don't even watch TV. I think I have the weirdest kids. I won't say my kids are weird, but they don't watch TV like regular, like they watch their shows every once in a while, but typically they will sit and play games and listen to music. Yeah, like
Nice.
all day. Yeah.
Good. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here again.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure chatting and channeling and all that good jazz.
Good. Well, yeah, the pleasure was definitely mine, and it was amazing to connect with the beings of oneness. Yeah. Through you. Thank you. And you're such a beautiful woman. I love you so much. Thank you for being on the planet. Yeah.
Thank you. Stay tuned. There's more to come.
Yes.
More to come. Seriously.
Yes. You hear that, everyone? There's more to come. So I can't wait. And we see each other on another channel, Third Eye Salon.
Oh, yeah.
So this is definitely not goodbye. So thank you everyone for being here, and please subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff and comment, and let us know how you like the what do you call this, a broadcast, I guess?
A show. It's a show.
A show. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And that's all I'll say. Okay. So thank you, Angela.
Oh, thank you for having it. Hey, Art Soldier 77. This is a beautiful shirt. She draws in multidimensional beings.
I love that.
The art
I
is
see
beautiful.
it now.
Yes.
Okay. And what's her name? What is the website?
Kamora Jones is her name. And
okay.
And her her tag is Art Soldier 77.
Okay. You'll have to send that to me so I can put it in the comments.
I just love her art. I'm pubbing. She didn't ask for that, but I am pubbing because the artwork is beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, definitely. I'm in the extraterrestrials. I think I asked that question. When is disclosure coming? And I've always got, we are the disclosure. Yeah, so they confirmed that. So I appreciate that. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to sign off now. All right. Bye, everyone.